An online lesson intended for kindergarten students focusing on LGBTQ identities has been pulled from the Maine Department of Education's website. Good evening, I'm Pat Callahan.
And I'm Samantha York, in tonight for Amanda Hill. This lesson was the subject of a new Republican ad targeting Governor Janet Mills. News Center Maine's Sean Stackhouse has been following this story and joins us now with the latest. Sean.
Yeah, well, Pat and Sam, according to the Maine DOE, the lesson was part of the department's MOOSE program. Now, that stands for Maine Online Opportunities for Sustained Education. And of the more than, and it was created during the first months of the pandemic to provide online resources for teachers. But one lesson of the more than 400 created by teachers is now facing backlash.
Is this really what our kids should be learning in kindergarten? Instead of math, science, and reading?
That's part of the latest Republican ad pushing back against Governor Janet Mills. It's all centered around a lesson in the state's MOOSE program. Republican State Representative Paul Stern says he heard about the lesson over the weekend and started to ask questions.
So I reported to the Commissioner of Education and just said, have you seen this and has it been vetted?
The lesson in question included information about various LGBTQ identities. Stern says he found it a bit heavy for kindergartners.
And I think they thought some of the same things I did, that perhaps it was a bit too detailed in that particular lesson for kindergarten age.
The Maine DOE's Director of Communications writing to News Center Maine. A review of the video led the department to conclude that the lesson is not something we would recommend including as part of kindergarten instruction and as such has been removed from the site, adding the module was developed during the first year of the pandemic by a kindergarten teacher in partnership with a group of other kindergarten teachers and should have received further review by a DOE specialist overseeing the kindergarten team.
I know for my own self, growing up as an LGBTQ youth, no one talked about what it meant to be LGBTQ, and I felt so alone. And we don't want kids to feel like they're alone.
Gia Drew, the program director with Equality Maine, says she was upset by the ad and that having conversations about identity with children is important to making them feel welcome and comfortable in their own skin.
That's appropriate too, is to have, developmentally appropriate curriculum and lesson plans that address and support LGBTQ youth, whether they're in kindergarten or whether they're in high school or somewhere in between. I think there's a way to do this correctly and done well.
A spokesperson for Governor Mills tells us she wasn't aware of the specific lesson, but understands the concerns and supports the DOE's decision to pull it from its site. It adds that the governor will continue to respect LGBTQ+ people as valued members of the Maine community. The teacher that recorded the video has also shared a statement on Facebook, writing in part, "My face and my work have become a political football to pass around without my consent and seemingly without concern for the effects on my personal life. The most disappointing part of all of this is that the Maine Department of Education and the Mills administration caved to pressure instead of standing up for some of the most vulnerable people, families, and students in Maine."